What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. I really wanted to cover this video yesterday, but unfortunately I didn't have a chance to do it. I do hope that you guys have an amazing weekend. It's Friday, we have the fusion on, we have the 2x on Sacred Shards, a bunch of other things happening. But I really want to talk about the fusion plan, and why this will be my very first fusion that I'm going to intentionally skip, okay? I'm going to walk you through the entire thing and explain you a bit how it's looking on the side of the calendar and all this for the fusion, because it's pretty damn hardcore now. I started playing this game in the beta. The very first fusion I skipped was Shamrock, and the reason for it is because I was early on. I didn't have crazy resources on my account. I was free to play at that point, and I just couldn't justify why I would go crazy to fuse this champion, because he was awful at that time. Since then he probably got like 5 buffs. The whole idea is that I never skipped a fusion intentionally, okay? I know I missed a fusion. I can't even remember the Christmas one that we had a while ago. Tatura, I missed that one. Other than that, I've always done the fusions regardless. Now, this time around, the calendar, the fusion event is pretty hardcore. I know I mentioned in my previous video, guys, definitely try to do the fusion. If you're early on, you're looking for some progression, he's not a bad champion, okay? He can do the Scarab. He's an ally attack champion. That's kind of like how I'm looking at this champion, an ally attack champion. Plus, he can do the Scarab. But if you already have a Vergis, if you already have champions that can do the Scarab King, you don't need a champion, okay? I'm not sure if they're ever gonna rework the champion, if they're ever gonna buff the champion. Honestly, I don't know. I don't want necessarily to influence your decision if to go for the fusion or no, but I'm gonna explain you why I took the decision I took. So it's definitely not gonna help me on my account. It's definitely not gonna allow me to do content for the majority of you guys out there to be like, okay, he's gonna be amazing for Hydra, he's gonna change your team there, definitely use him there, I can combine him with tons of different champions and obtain amazing results on some bosses or some dungeons or anything like that. He's not that champion, okay? And the next thing is, he is so hard as a fusion. Is this sort of a hybrid fusion, right? Where we actually gotta fuse the champion, but we cannot actually fuse the epics. We gotta get them from fragments, okay? Fuse means we'll actually have rare champions to fuse the epics, so we can actually skip events. Usually when I'm doing a fusion, I'm skipping one of the summoning events because, hey, I don't have shards non-stop. We have so many guaranteed events in the game at the moment that honestly, it's not worth it for you to go and do a fusion so hard, okay, and use all your shards to get an average champion that probably you're gonna use for the Scarab for 1 or 2 months till you're gonna get Euros the Soul Cage, and he's instantly gonna replace any other champion that you have for the Scarab in the entire game. He's the ultimate GOAT for it, you know? So regardless where you are, you're eventually gonna get that champion. It's just not worth it. What if they're gonna do a guaranteed Theodore? They're gonna do a guaranteed, I don't know, the Rat champion. I forgot his name, the new one that we actually got. Where is it? The Skinwalker, sorry. Sneak Track. What if they're gonna do a guaranteed on one of these champions? Recently, they're doing guaranteed events every second week, or almost every second week. So you know what? I'm gonna save my shards this time around. I'm gonna skip this fusion because I don't have a lot of shards, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, by the time one of the guaranteed events drops in, I'm gonna have enough shards to be able to get it, and hopefully it's gonna be a decent one. Plus, I'm pretty convinced I'm gonna pull this fusion at some point unintentionally. But looking at the fusion event calendar, this is kind of like what puts me off the most. How I mentioned, I'm always trying to collect the fusion champions. They're free legendaries. They might get buffed, they might not get buffed, but in case if they get buffed, they might become super strong, and hey, I don't want to miss on that opportunity, you feel me? But this time around, you can literally not skip any events whatsoever, okay? From the champion chase, you have 40 fragments right there for 2 different champions. Then if you're looking at the other ones, we have the Spider Tournament, the Dragon, the Ice Golem, the Fire Knight, 20 from each, for each champion, 20 fragments, sorry. Again, you gotta make sure you are on point with everything. And honestly, it's not necessarily the biggest problem, okay? I gotta do the dungeons, I gotta farm some gear to get the fragments. That's honestly not the biggest problem. On top of it, you're gonna have to do all these artifact enhancement events, which are 3 of them. They're very, very costly, okay? It's gonna cost you over 10 to 15 million silver to get the fragments for each one of them. And then you're gonna have the Summon Rush as well, which is gonna be the equivalent of around 7 Sacred Shards, if not 8 Sacred Shards. For the champion chase that we have going on at the moment, is probably the equivalent of 7 to 8 Sacred Shards as well. Especially if you're not getting lucky to pull a legendary champion, is actually gonna be pretty damn painful to get to 2,500 points, because an epic only gives you 250 points. So that means if you're unlucky, you can open 10 sacreds just to get the fragments. And you cannot miss on any of the events, okay? Literally, you cannot miss on them unless you're winning first place in multiple events. If you're a spender, you know? But that's kind of like the whole idea with this fusion. That's why, honestly, I'm gonna skip it. I'm gonna save my shards and have them for a guaranteed legendary event of my choice, you know? At least I get to pick, okay, this might be better for my account. It's actually gonna be a better champion. They do tend to give us better champions, better quality on guaranteed events, you know, to kind of like make the people to open shards for them. So that's just kind of like to give you guys an idea, you know. It's gonna be pretty hard. You can't really skip many events whatsoever, almost none actually. So that's kind of like how it goes with the fusion. Let me know in the comments down below if you are going for the actual fusion, you're skipping it as well, or what's the whole situation with it. How I mentioned, this is actually the very first fusion that I'm skipping. It's not really gonna help me with anything on my account. Probably a lot of early mid-game players, they could see some sort of progression from this champion, but when you're early on and you're farming the low stages on dungeons and all this, it's just so hard to get points, you know. Like right now we have the champion chase tournament, we have the champion training, and we have the spider tournament, okay? You need 2,250 points to get the fragments. Now, if you're early to mid-game, you're probably gonna be able to farm stage 15, 16 if you're mid-game. If you're early game, you're gonna need to sink so much energy into getting this done that is just not worth it whatsoever. You're literally gonna cripple your account. You're better off if you go and work on your starter champion, work on your second 6-star, get masteries for your core team, or do anything else but waste resources and sink them in the lower stages of the dungeons, because all you're gonna do, you're gonna sink all that energy in the low stages in dungeons, and you're just not gonna get anything back out of it, because the gear that you're getting from here, you're literally gonna replace it so quick, okay? You see, 3 to 4 stars, 2 to 4 stars, and the drop rates are so bad on these stages, guys, and you're getting mystery shards, you're getting brews. So honestly, it's just not worth it to go for fusions unless you can farm stage 16 plus, especially for a fusion like this. I feel like when they're doing this sort of hardcore fusions, they gotta give us champions that are worth it. Like last time, the very first time when we had a fusion like this, a hybrid fusion, we had Under Priest Brogni. He's one of a kind in the game. He literally made so many things in the game possible, unbelievable, okay? Yes, it's worth it. Was worth it to go all in for a fusion like this. Was very hard. A lot of you guys probably remember, especially if you missed it because you weren't able to complete every single event. So all around, I can justify going for a champion like this, using all my resources that I have available, wasting all my shards and literally biting my fingers all day just to know that I'm gonna get a god tier champion that's gonna skyrocket my account. But when it's not the case, I cannot justify why I would want to sink everything that I have on the account, you know, like burn all the resources for an average champion like that. Now, if we would have had Theodore as the fusion champion, or if we would have had the Skinwalker, right? If we would have had a Sneak Track as the fusion champion, or hey, maybe even have Raka as the fusion champion, then yeah, for this hybrid fusion, I was gonna be like, all in, let's do it, guys. It's definitely worth it to go and do this fusion. Try to do your best. Even if you're like super low spender or anything like that, you might want to spend $5-10 extra this month just to get a fusion, because it's actually worth it, you know, and it's your entertainment, of course, up to you if you're spending or no. But this is definitely not the case. I'm skipping this fusion. I am curious to know your thoughts as well. Let me know in the comments down below. How I mentioned in my previous video where we actually tested the fusion, I can see progression out of this champion, but not at the cost that you're gonna have to pay to get this fusion done. At that time, we weren't really aware of how the schedule will work. We weren't aware that we can't really skip any events because we're gonna get wrecked if we do it. So honestly, I'm not very keen on the fusion. I'm skipping it. That's my personal opinion. I don't really want to influence your decision, guys. Like, you got to put in perspective everything that I just said and see kind of like where you stand. Probably if you spend money and you're a collector, you're gonna go and get it anyway because you have the shards. You don't care if the next guaranteed event is gonna come out because you're just gonna purchase the shards. But I'm not in that spot anymore. I'm not a big spender. So yeah, that was all for this video. I'm curious to know your opinion in the comments down below. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.